Hello there. Welcome to Studio B Live. It's Saturday. I am working on another panel. This is called the Amazing Panel. And look, Cassie is here. Good evening, Cassie. How are you? So glad to see you tonight. I am looking forward to a fantastic session in Studio B. I'm making progress on her. How's your quilting week been? What have you been up to? I did do that research on Pac-Man, and I realized that there was things it was supposed to eat and so forth, and then there were little gremlins running after the Pac-Man. So I'm not going to follow that completely, but I did decide to stay with my idea with circles. So I'm doing the circles, and I did do a little practice piece ahead of time. Where is it? Here it is. I did a practice piece with different ways to fill the circles, whether I was going to use free motion or ruler quilting on it. And I think I'm going to, well, I have been doing it with the ruler itself, the circle ruler. Hopefully you can see that a little bit inside the close-up photo. I know it's dark fabric, but once I stitch this out, I'll show it to you. So I'm doing two different sizes of circles. Ones that can fit in between the maze and ones that are a little bit bigger where I have some bigger space. So this is stage 4. Who else is here? Oh, Kathy is here. Hello, how are you, Kathy? Nice to see you here. How was your week? How was your week? So anyway, making progress. My week was filled with fun quilty stuff. So first I had some work to do on other projects, and I got that all taken care of at the beginning of the week. And then I had my presentation for Patchwork Power, which was awesome. There were close to 400 women from all over the US and Canada, maybe other countries, I don't know, but I know Canadians were in my session. And I don't know if you've ever been to any of these events by CT Publishing. They're so worth it. They usually have 10 instructors, and each instructor has 1 hour presentation, and they do 3 at a time. So you come into the main room, and for that session, everyone comes into the main room, and then they give you a brief outline of each instructor, and then you choose which of the 3 you want to go into their breakout room. And if you find that you want to jump out of that breakout room and go into another, you can certainly do that. The benefit is that you don't miss out, because all the sessions, all 10, are recorded and you can watch them after. So basically, you're just choosing which ones you want to participate in live. And if you can only make half the day, then you watch the rest after the replay. And the replays were ready in 2 days, so they're up today. Yeah, so it was a great session, and an hour is a good amount of time to present and answer questions and to chat with ladies. So it was really, really fun. And it turns out this was their 20th time doing this event. Ah, Jacqueline says it was good. How many of the replays did you watch, Jacqueline? I know you watched mine and you said you enjoyed it. And you're so right. All the designs inside that can go any size. They don't have to be dense quilting. It could be loose, 1 inch or more. And I was playing with the ruler today as I was putting together my practice piece for testing out the circle design. And, sometimes I get lazy, right? We all are like that. I wanted to do some straight lines and I didn't want to mark them. So I said, let me figure out on the ruler the distance I can stitch without marking. So check this out. I'm really excited about this. So from, let's see, maybe you can see it on the tight camera. Okay, I'm going to do it. Let's see, this way. There we go. Like this. So I want to stitch a straight line. If I have one line marked right here, and I put the edge of the inside channel right here, I will stitch from the edge of this line, from this line to here is 2 inches. 2 inches. So I don't have to mark. Let me get my ruler. Yeah, it's 2 inches. Yep. So if I put this edge anywhere, I know I'm stitching 2 inches away. That's fantastic. I think that's great, right? Now, if I move the ruler over to the other side of the channel, right here, this side, I'm stitching 2.5 inches. So from this edge is 2.5. From this edge is 2 inches. Is that fantastic? Don't have to mark it, at least for 2 inches and 2.5, which I think is fantastic. I love that. So that's what I did. I was able to stitch lines that were 2.5 inches apart without having to mark it, just by using the 2 edges of the channel. Isn't that great? Oh, Jacqueline, you've watched 5 so far. Great. I have access to it too as an instructor. I haven't watched any yet. I can't wait to watch Karen Montgomery, the keynote speaker. Did you watch her? I love her fabric cutting tools. I have several of them. And by the way, this ruler, this cutting ruler, my favorite, this is by her. It's called the Quick Trim and Circle ruler. It's 3.5 inches wide and 12.5 inches long. I love this ruler. I use it for everything. Cutting strips, cutting binding, cutting yardage. Yeah. So, all right. So I did a test on the circle and I've come up with a design in 2 different sizes. And I'm using the BERNINA ruler. It comes in their essential ruler kit. And it's a unusual circle template in that it's all individual rings. And so you need tape to hold it together, or you just use one ring at a time, which is, I think, too challenging for me. So I need several rings to give me some space for my hands. I don't want it to get too close to the needle or the foot. So let's stitch this one out so you can see what I'm stitching. That was really close. Ladies, I was so surprised when I went out on an errand yesterday to ship some rulers. The sky was this terrible, dingy, orangey gray. And I didn't think that it was from the Canadian fires, but it is. And so we have a air quality advisory, and I could feel the difference. I rushed home as soon as I could because it's highly detrimental to high risk, and I'm in that category because I have asthma. So I'm doing back and forth inside the circle and adjusting the circle with each pass. Oops, my thread broke. Yeah, I think it was the bobbin. No, it was let's see. Nope, it was the top thread. So it's been very foggy for you too. Did you go out, Jacqueline? I noticed by the time I got home, my throat was itchy and scratchy. And when I read the information about what is actually in the air, it's like these little fine particles that are terrible for breathing and getting into your lungs. And it's pretty cloudy out today too. We've had a little bit of rain today. But when you look on the weather map, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. Yeah, it says air quality alert. Alert. Can't see it, but let me see. 2 severe alerts. 2 of them. Severity unknown. Let's see. For a long time, the map was just all orange. They're not showing it now. Oh boy, it's going to be raining for the next 7 days. Whew. So anyway, oh, it's been bad for you too. Wow, Kathy. Air quality over 1,000? That's extremely high, Kathy. Oh my goodness. That is not good at all. Good thing school isn't open, so kids don't have to deal with that. But I'm sure it's terrible for seniors or anyone with breathing challenges. Wow, that's insane. That's almost like state of emergency. Has your state issued any advisories about staying home if necessary? Sorry about this, ladies. You know, thread breaks. What do? You take it out. So, when my thread breaks in the middle of the stitching pattern, I always take it out as far as a pivot point, a section where it's like I'm starting from a beginning of a pattern or beginning of a pattern section rather than in the middle. It's less obvious. Let me bring up my tension. Yep, that's what I thought. It has to be very difficult. And being indoors, I saw this video with a guy who has an air filter in his home anyway, and it always gives the particle information. And he took it to his patio to show us how bad the air was in his area. Oh no. Smoke index, it's the highest. Wow. That's not good. Mhm. It's just terrible. I wonder how close they are to the containment of the fires. I do have some quilt projects to share with you. And remember, the last time we were together, I showed you the ones with the applique using acrylic rulers. Well, I pulled out one to show you that I mentioned where I used hearts and I made it into a banner. And I forgot that I made two of them. One my niece has, which I mentioned last time, and then I have another one. So I'm going to share that one with you. I'll show that to you. All right, almost done here. And then yesterday, how many of you were there for the conversation with Rochelle? If you haven't seen that Quilt Conversations live and you're just joining us, we had a chat with one of the community members, her journey with free motion and ruler quilting. I know you were there, Jacqueline and Kathy. You may have missed it, Cassie. I don't remember. Maybe you were there. I didn't see that you were there. Ow. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can get this started again. Some of the fires are only 15% contained. Wow. That's a lot. I know that sometimes in California when they have those kind of fires, people from other countries come in and help. I wonder if we're going to send people to Canada to help firefighters. Yes, she was inspiring. Oh, good. I'm glad it's clear in Ohio for you, Cassie. That's great. All right. I'm supposed to do that. There we go. One of the things that Rochelle said was that she likes to just try things. And I'm the same way. Are you ladies like that? Are you willing to try new things? What were some of the things that Rochelle shared that you are either you have tried or you're interested in trying? Did you like her idea of having a playground? I kind of look at these panels as my playground, a place to have fun and experiment. And that's what I'm doing with this one, experimenting. I wanted to keep all the stitching confined to the Stitchline Ruler, but I decided that I was going to combine a second ruler and free motion. I decided against it because I didn't come up with anything really to stitch in the white area. That's partly part of it. I didn't know what else I could stitch in it. I'd have to practice stitching in that kind of space. I didn't have a ready reference from previous projects. All right, I'm just pulling these all to the back so I can show you this without all the threads. One of the things we talked about in the Patchwork Power presentation was how many rulers we each have. Oh boy. As I was pulling out stuff to show you tonight, it reminded me of some rulers that I have not seen the light of day in years. Okay, so here is what it looks like. If you look at the close-up camera. It's kind of fun, right? Back and forth. I like that design. It gives some movement to the circle. I thought about doing an echo, but that would require more space and breaking thread and burying it and all that. I didn't want to do that. So instead, I just made the outer circle more pronounced by doing a double stitch. And I think it works. What do you ladies think? You like it? Okay, so Jacqueline says Rochelle was so encouraging. She was very encouraging. And she talked about getting bold with colored thread. Okay, and you have done that. Awesome. Yay. And so, yeah, Jacqueline, I'm having fun with the circles. I decided that I was going to do a lot of colors, different colors. And so today I've stitched yellow, green, blue. Now I'm doing red. And I stitched 2 different sizes. Love it. So let me see if I can show more. So this is the bigger circle. This is the smaller one. Small, just enough to fit in between the channel. So blue. This yellow one's probably hard to see on camera, but that's that. I did. Here you can see maybe the star and a green one. So there's a green one here. Green, the star, and then I did a big yellow one right here. Big yellow. Yeah, so I have them in several places. I'm going to have to take a bigger look at where they all are and see how many more I want to put in before I put in some free motion. But I know I have a big empty space right here that I need to fill with some bigger circles. Even sometimes I like to do half circles, but I don't know if I'll do that with this design. So I think I need a thread color change. I'm going to bring in some gold. How many red? I have pink, pink. And here's the thing, the pink and the red look so close. So this is pink and this is red, and they're so close in color. It's really hard to tell them apart. So I'm going to say I'm good on the red, and I'm going to change. Now, I think the fun part about this is that, especially for you, Jacqueline, you don't like a lot of dense quilting. Doing a light, airy stitching in here and then doing random circles in the white area, and then you can call it done. You don't have to add in more stitching around this. And I don't even know what I'm going to stitch in there yet. That's still something I'm thinking about, what I'm going to stitch. And I'm thinking it's not going to be super dense if I do some free motion, but I don't know what that is yet. And I will use white thread. Yeah. So, what are you ladies working on? What are your projects? What projects are you working on? So let me give you a little quiz. Would you like a quiz? Do you have purple thread? Yeah, I already put purple thread down. Oh, did I? No, I haven't. But here's the thing. Just like the red and the pink, the purple is it's like just dark fabric. I'm going to try it. Pink and red and purple, all the dark colors, values are looking the same. So, but I'm going to try the purple. Thank you for that. Still working on your king size quilt. Great. That's your quilt as you go. You were working on it last night, weren't you, Jacqueline? I'm going to try the purple thread. Oh, you're designing a scarf. That sounds like fun, Kathy. And Jacqueline is working on her king size quilt. Yeah. One of the things that Rochelle mentioned was her thread collection, how she was testing different threads, weights, and such. Um, this is actually an exercise in thread use and color against white, and what does it actually look like? The thread, not only color, but value, right? So even as I was thinking about your suggestion with purple and how the pink and the red were looking exactly the same on the quilt, I think it also has to do with the thread value. So I'm going to look for like a lavender, a lighter, not a dark purple, but something in between pink and purple to see if I get a difference. But here's the other thing. When you have white background with different color thread, what color thread would you use for the bobbin? Would you use the background color? If it was black, would you use black thread? If it's white, you're using white with all the different colors. And how does that impact the back of the quilt? Something to think about, right? So that was my week. Patchwork Power, Rochelle's interview, and getting ready for the next thing. The next thing that's coming up, actually, there are two things that are coming up. One is I hinted to it in one of my recent newsletters. If you're not on my newsletter list, email list, you can do that by going to machinequilting.live. But in that newsletter, I mentioned that a new Christmas in July pattern bundle is coming next week. It's only for 5 days. It's 20 designers and 24 patterns. You get all 24 patterns for one very, very low price. Amazing. And I am included in that. I have a pattern that's included in that. And I can't give any more details until next week. I will send out my first email next Thursday, and that's when you have access to this amazing bundle. 24 patterns for one low price, only available for 5 days. So that I worked on that earlier this week. All right, where am I going to put the gold? I think I'm going to try it down here. Put it down here. So Jacqueline says, I like to use blending thread in the back, but my king size quilt, I'm using light gold in the bobbin and top. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I always look at gold as a neutral thread. It's a fantastic neutral thread. So that must be nice. Do you like your decision in that? Is it working out across all your fabrics? Okay, yeah, twice. All right. All right, let me share with you the show and tell I wanted to share. You've seen me stitch at least 2 of these. You know what they look like. And here's the gold. I think it turned out pretty cool. I like it. It also makes me think about Christmas lights or Christmas bulbs, you know. So anyway. So let's see. What is first? Some of my favorite Westerly rulers are the border templates. Any of you ladies have the border templates? Oh, you love the gold. You like it. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is very neutral. I would agree. And you said you like to use blending. Yeah, got that. Okay. Mhm. You like them too, the border templates? Yeah, they are so nice. So I'm going to show you some of that. But also, I think I mentioned that I had a love affair with circles. Circles. So there was a time when I was doing lots and lots of circles. And I like to combine not only ruler quilting, free motion, but I have a host, a host of those blue stencils. How many of you ladies have those stencils? I have so many stencils. And so I decided I was going to use ruler, a stencil, and free motion in this project. So that's what I do sometimes. I did a lot of it years ago before I was teaching a lot, where I would give myself a challenge. And I'd say, okay, you're going to use 3 techniques in one project. So this is it, and it's hard to see here on camera, so I have pictures for you, but it's yeah, I'll show you the front and the back. You can see the back of it better, I think, than the front because the yellow is just so bright. But let's take a look at the picture. I'll put it up. So that's the front. Free motion, ruler quilted circles, and then stencils of the dragonfly. So I used the pounce pad to get the dragonfly on the fabric, and then I used the gold thread. That's the gold thread. Gold thread, white thread, and yellow thread. 3 different threads. The white gives it a little shimmer. Yeah, and it's all glide thread. You like that? Thank you. So I love to practice. I did this years ago. Years ago. And it was fun to do. Let me show you the back. The back, you can really see all this amazing texture. And that's one of the other things that I challenged myself with. You know, Rochelle said to use contrasting thread. The contrasting thread could be the back, right? The back is a quilt as much as the front is. The front is mostly blending, except for the dragonflies with the gold thread. It's not a high contrast between the gold and the yellow, but it's enough that they stand out on the front. And what's interesting, if you when you look at the back, the dragonflies look, what do you call that? Reverse, like reverse applique. It's yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? So this is free motion, ruler quilting, and circles. I was putting everything I could inside of circles. So I love this. Yeah. And I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different free motion quilting designs in this. So this is also a practice session on filler designs. So how to fill a space. And sometimes that filling of space doesn't have to be dense because I know Jacqueline, you're really getting me to think about that more as you mention it. That sometimes the practice can be how can I fill a space without making it dense and also make it interesting? So, just something to think about. So, that's one. What else did I have for you? Let's see. 1, 2. All right, so here's the border design. So, this is when I got the border templates from Westerly Design. And again, I wanted to play with not only rulers, but also with free motion. So there's some straight line quilting in this. There's the borders in those bold colors, right? And this is, it's not a very big piece. I think I had some leftover strips. Some leftover strips. See how big she is? And I just quickly pieced it together to practice borders. All right. You like that? That's kind of fun, isn't it? And I'm going to show you the back. So I also use the very small circle rulers. I think they're called in a line, or they're ones that you can use. The reference lines are different. The reference lines are such that you can put them straight in a line, meaning if it's in a channel, a border, you use the reference lines on those channel lines. That way the circles are dead center of the channel. So I did that, but I stacked them. I made them look like they're stacked one on top of the other. So let's take a look. You can see it a little bit in the background here, but of course the back, you're going to see it even better. Let's look at the back. Whoops, wrong one. That's that. Okay, here we go. So now you can see it. You can see the circles. You can see the freehand circles and free motion, the straight line channels, all of that very clearly. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful texture between the border template design, the straight lines, and even just the angular placement of the lines. So I really had fun with this one. You like this? You love it. Yay. Oh, between the lines. That's it. Thank you for the circle rulers between the lines. So those reference lines are key. Don't sleep on the reference lines that you have on your rulers. They are really made to help you with design work. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, so much fun. For I did these years ago. These are pieces that I save for lectures, when I talk about ruler quilting options, when a guild says that they're interested and wanting to know more about what can be done with rulers, they're not interested in a workshop, I bring out all these samples to share them, the possibilities, to get them all inspired. All right, so that's fun. Now, this is what I was talking about last time, how we can use ruler templates for applique. So the banner, which is this one here, this banner was first stitched, the background was stitched first with a ruler. I pieced this, a family is a patchwork of love, pieced that, stitched the background with a very loose stitching. It's not dense. And this was with the pointed oval template. Stitch the background. Maybe you can see those red lines there in the back on the photo. Once that was done, I took felt and just pinned it in different places, and then used this ruler, which is in the Janome ruler set. Janome ruler set has one called Hearts of Plenty. I looked on the website today on So Steady. They don't carry this particular heart template, but they have others, and you can use any heart template if you want to make this kind of banner. So I just love that you can touch this. It's fuzzy, it's fun. And when it's finished, let's take a look. One more. I put a loop in it. So there's a loop right here where you can put a dowel in and hang it. So this is now hanging with clips, but it can be hung with a dowel, and it could be put on your front door if you want. So I've made this particular banner over and over and over again. It's really a fun project to try different techniques, to try ruler quilting, free motion. Yeah, thank you, Jacqueline. It is really a fun project. But just think about those templates that you have that, especially if they're hearts and flowers and things like that. Think about a baby quilt that you could do ruler quilted applique on top of. A panel can now become something completely different just by putting on some wool or felt or something. And it could even be squares or shapes. And you make it for a grandbaby or something, and it's all felt, and they can choose the color. What color is that? And then what shape is that? It could be an exercise for them. So I think it's really a fun idea to make applique shapes with rulers right on top of our quilts. Fun for the kids. They love that. Well, even how many of you have made a what do you call that? The ones where it's for, sensory for seniors. What is that called? Do you remember, ladies? What it's called? Um, when they put zippers, buttons, felt, different textures. I just have a brain freeze right now. I can't think of it. They make them for kids. They make them for seniors who are with dementia and Alzheimer's. Um, okay, Cassie, you know what I'm talking about too. I can't recall. And I made one for my mom. I'll have to share it one time. I made it for her, and I can't think of it. Fidget. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Fidget quilt. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Cassie. But thank you. Yeah. All right. I'm going to see if I can close these off. All right. That one. That one. That one. That one. And the last one. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So the hour always goes by so quickly. So quickly. So do you ladies like this part of the Studio B where I show some oldies but goodies and kind of tell you the story behind them and what I was practicing? If you like that, I will always add that to our session. I do have to dig them out and take photos and so forth. So it does take a little bit of effort. But if you're not interested, I don't want to spend that time. All right. Let me know. All right. Yes, says Cassie. Okay, great. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. All right. Awesome. All right. So we're not going to be here next week because it's the 4th. I'll be back on the first Saturday of August, first, second, and third of the Saturday of the month. And I do have to shift gears and quilt something else, and that is for the summer soiree. I'm also quilting that quilt. I've started it. I'm a third of a way through. I still have a way to go. I'm going to spend time this coming week trying to get her finished. And I've been going back and forth. Jacqueline, you're in the summer soiree, and so you'll be able to see it and hear the story behind going back and forth. And I think it's a lesson that I could share with everyone. Um, Creative lesson. I use every quilt, maybe you ladies do this too, as an opportunity to try something new. right? And so I tried something new, and it changed the way I quilted. So after the soiree, I'll come back to Studio B and I'll talk about it. But for now, I'm going to share it at the soiree, summer soiree first. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I need to finish that up next week. It's a third of the way done. What are you ladies doing for the coming week? Next couple of weeks? I know, Jacqueline, you're working on your quilt as you go. And Kathy, you have to stay indoors. I'm glad you're safe, but I know that it's a bummer that you can't go out and the air quality is not good for your community. So we'll be praying for you and others who are suffering through this. And Cassie, what were you working on? I'm sorry, I forgot. And who else is here today? Did I miss anybody? Oh, Grandma, are you still here? What's your first name? Grandma Lou. Grandma Lou. That's sweet, Grandma Lou. Oh, you're still working on the Juneteenth for next year. Okay, you're working on that. That's good. It'll be ready next year. Well, hey, planning ahead is a good thing. So I have these two to finish. And I don't know how far I'll get with the maze. At least I'll finish the circles tonight, I think, and save the free motion part when we get together on the first Saturday of August. All right, before I sign off, any questions, ladies? Have a wonderful week and the rest of it and the coming week. I look forward to seeing you again. And don't forget, I did mention that we have a special guest for Quilt Conversations Live next month. It's going to be about African print fabric. Yes, a special guest interview. This one is not going to be recorded, it's going to be live. So she will join us live for Quilt Conversations Live, and I look forward to it. I think you're going to enjoy it. You'll have some more fabric inspiration. Who is it? Can you guess? Can you guess who it is? I can tell you. Her name is Lisa. She's with Cultured Expressions. Lisa Shepherd. I met her at a quilt show, craft show in Chicago back in May, and we had a conversation. And I said, "Hey, why don't you come on my show? I know my quilting community would love to hear from you." Yes, Jacqueline, awesome. You too. Have a great weekend. Yes, so excited. All right, ladies, I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And any of the things that I talked about today, rulers, etc., links are all in the description box below. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up. And I'll see you next time.